Have you ever felt like the world around you was too small for the size of your dreams, that despite your limitations, something greater was waiting for you beyond the horizon? The story of Thane teaches us that sometimes the greatest challenge isn't the road ahead, but the weight we carry within. In the quiet village where Thane lived, the rhythmic clang of his hammer against the anvil was as constant as the stream that flowed nearby. He was the village blacksmith, known for his precision in crafting tools and weapons, but also for his skill in repairing delicate objects. Villagers often brought him broken locks, hinges, or ornate trinkets, trusting his steady hands to restore them. Thane never turned down a job, yet he never seemed truly excited about any of them either. He was a man of routine. Few in the village noticed, but behind his serious expression lay a quiet restlessness. His dark eyes held a weariness that had nothing to do with physical labor. It was something deeper, something he preferred not to acknowledge. With every strike of the hammer, the same unspoken question echoed in his mind. Is this all I will ever be? One sweltering afternoon, as the heat of the forge made the air feel heavy, a traveler stepped through the doorway. He had the look of someone who had journeyed far. His boots were worn, his cloak weathered, and a leather satchel hung across his shoulder. His eyes carried the weight of experience, as if he had seen places others could only dream of. "Blacksmith," the traveler said calmly. "I need your help." Thane glanced up, mildly intrigued, as the man placed an object on the workbench. It was an old compass, its metal casing dented and the glass cracked. Thane picked it up carefully, turning it in his hands to examine the delicate gears inside. "Without this, I can't continue my journey," the traveler explained. Something about the request piqued Thane's curiosity. This was no ordinary repair. Though fragile, he knew he had the tools and skill to fix it. He had worked on intricate mechanisms before, an unspoken craft of his, especially in a village without clockmakers or fine artisans. "Let me try," he said, his tone steady as always. As Thane worked, carefully dismantling the compass to adjust its inner mechanisms, the traveler watched him closely. The forge was well kept, every tool in its place, yet the atmosphere felt hollow. The traveler observed the way Thane moved. His precision was undeniable, but there was something missing. He worked with skill, but not with passion. After a while, the traveler broke the silence. "You're talented," he said, "but it seems you haven't yet found everything you're capable of." Thane didn't respond right away. He disliked discussing his work, especially with strangers. But the comment unsettled him, not because it was wrong, but because it was right. And deep down, he knew it. "What do you know about me?" Thane asked, adjusting the final piece. The traveler gave a knowing smile, as if he were about to reveal a hidden truth. "I know enough to see that you're not fully here. You carry something heavy, not in your hands, but in your heart." Thane paused for a moment, feeling unexpectedly exposed. It was as if this man could see something no one else in the village had ever noticed. He quickly composed himself and handed over the repaired compass. "Here, it works like new, that should be enough." The traveler turned the compass in his fingers, testing it with a satisfied nod. "Flawless," he murmured. Then from his satchel, he pulled out an aged piece of parchment and laid it on the workbench. It was a map, but not an ordinary one. Its lines were intricate, filled with symbols and markings Thane didn't recognize. "Consider this your payment," the traveler said. "To the right person, it's worth more than gold." Thane studied the map, intrigued. "What does it lead to?" The traveler leaned back slightly, his gaze shimmering with mystery. "It's a path, not just to a place, but to something greater, something that could change your life, if you have the courage to follow it." Thane scanned the markings carefully. In one corner, a phrase stood out, "The Bell of Truth. Listen, and you will find your purpose." The words stirred something inside him, but before he could ask more, the traveler stood up. "Not all treasures are buried, blacksmith," he said. "Some are hidden in the journey itself." With that, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the cobbled streets. Thane stared at the map long into the night. Every symbol, every line seemed like a challenge, an unanswered question waiting for him to uncover. For the first time in years, he felt something stir within him. A spark of curiosity, a pull toward something unknown. What was the bell of truth? And why did it feel like this stranger saw something in Thane that even he couldn't see in himself? One thing was certain. If he wanted answers, he would have to step beyond the world he knew. A choice lay before him, and he was about to take the first step toward something that would change his life forever. By the next morning, Thane was ready to set out. He had no experience with long journeys, but he knew the map would take him far beyond the borders of the village. In his small satchel, he packed some dried bread, a flask of water, and a few small tools, a knife, a file, and a length of rope. Before leaving, he grabbed a sturdy branch he often used to stoke the coals in his forge. It'll do as a walking stick, he thought. It wasn't much, but he hoped it would help on rough terrain. The first stretch of the journey felt easy. Thane moved with the energy of a man finally taking his first steps towards something new. The map was folded in his pocket, and he walked with his eyes open to the world around him. Tall trees lined the trail, casting cool shade, and the songs of birds filled the air. It was a world he had rarely explored, yet now it felt full of promise. After a few hours, the landscape began to shift. The once smooth path turned uneven, scattered with loose rocks that demanded careful footing. Thane treaded cautiously, but in a single misstep he landed wrong, his foot twisting as he slipped on a stone hidden beneath damp leaves. A sharp pain shot up his leg, and he dropped onto a nearby rock, gripping his ankle. "Perfect," he muttered, rubbing the sore spot. Though uncomfortable, the pain wasn't unbearable. But his makeshift walking stick, the branch from his forge, had snapped in the fall, leaving him without support. Just then he heard soft footsteps and the distant bleating of goats. Turning his head, he saw a young shepherdess walking along the trail, guiding a small herd. She was simply dressed, her long hair braided, a woolen cloak draped over her shoulders. Upon noticing Thane, she paused, studying him with quiet curiosity. "Are you all right?" she asked, her voice calm and kind. Thane, unused to discussing his struggles, replied curtly, "I'm fine. Just a small accident. Nothing that'll stop me." The shepherdess glanced at the broken branch beside him, then at his ankle. "Doesn't look like it'll be easy to keep going," she said, with a knowing smile. "Would you like some help?" Thane hesitated. He wasn't one to accept assistance from strangers. But before he could refuse, she extended her staff toward him. A sturdy, well-worn wooden cane, dark from years of use, its smooth surface polished by time. "Where are you headed?" she asked as she held it out. Thane took the staff with a silent nod of thanks, but didn't answer right away. How could he explain where he was going when he wasn't sure himself? After a moment, he settled on saying only what mattered. "I'm following a map, something that might change my life." The shepherdess raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Sounds like an important journey. I hope you find what you're looking for." She studied him for a moment before adding, "You know, sometimes the path is just as important as the destination." Thane didn't respond. He had heard words like these before, simple phrases that carried more weight than they first appeared to, yet something in her tone made them feel undeniably true. "If you need anything, I'll be around with my flock," she said before turning to leave. "And keep the staff. Consider it a gift for the road." Thane gripped the staff, feeling its solid weight. He couldn't explain it, but it felt like more than just a tool. It felt like a reminder that accepting help wasn't a sign of weakness. As he pushed himself up and took his first steps with the staff's support, a newfound determination settled in him. As he walked, now steadier with the shepherdess's staff, Thane noticed something odd. Beneath the whispering wind and rustling leaves, a faint metallic ringing drifted through the air. He paused, furrowing his brow, listening closely. But as quickly as it had come, the sound was gone, carried away on the breeze. Unsure whether he had imagined it, he shook off the thought and pressed forward, tucking the strange detail into the back of his mind. By the time the sun dipped toward the horizon, he reached a small plateau that overlooked the distant mountains. The sky burned with warm hues of orange and red as the wind stirred around him. Taking a moment to rest, Thane pulled out the map and unfolded it once more. The lines seemed clearer now. The next stretch would be steeper, leading into a valley that faded into the encroaching twilight. Even so, he felt ready. As he packed away the map and settled in for the night, the shepherdess's words lingered in his mind. The path is just as important as the destination. He didn't know what awaited him beyond the valley's shadow, but one thing was certain: his journey was only beginning. The valley remained eerily quiet as Thane followed the markings on his map. That distant metallic sound he had heard before now felt closer, guiding his steps. With every turn in the path, a strange anticipation built inside him, as if he were nearing something important. Finally, rounding a towering rock formation, he saw it, the entrance to a cave. The opening was partially obstructed by fallen stones, but there was still enough space to slip through. Thane checked his map and confirmed it. This was the place. The same symbols etched onto the aged parchment were now carved into the rock beside the entrance, as if silently inviting him in. Taking a deep breath, he stepped inside. The cave's interior was cool, its jagged walls swallowing the light from his makeshift torch. His footsteps echoed unnaturally, amplifying the weight of the silence. Then, once more, he heard it. That faint, rhythmic chime, like metal swaying gently in the wind. Following the sound, he made his way through the tunnel until it opened into a vast chamber at the heart of the cave. There, suspended by rusted chains, was the bell that had led him here. It was smaller than he had imagined, simple, unadorned, but as it swayed slightly in the drafty cavern, it emitted a sound that was both soothing and unsettling, a sound that seemed to carry something deeper than mere noise. Thane approached carefully, eyes locked on the bell. It looked ancient, yet well-preserved. The edges were slightly worn, and its smooth surface reflected the flickering torchlight. At first glance, it bore no engravings or embellishments, but as he stepped closer, his breath caught. There, at its base, was a marking he recognized. "The same one from the map," he murmured, tracing the curved lines with his fingers. Trusting his instincts, he knelt down to examine the structure holding the bell. The chains anchoring it stretched down to a stone platform, almost like an altar. Below it, something unusual caught his eye. A narrow gap, deliberately shaped, as if something had been placed there long ago. Reaching into the crevice, his fingers brushed against a cool, solid object. "What is this?" he muttered, carefully pulling it free. A small curved metal plate rested in his hands. Time had worn its edges, but the words engraved on its surface remained clear. Purpose is not found at the destination, but in the steps taken along the way. Thane read the inscription once, then again. The words were simple, yet they carried a weight that settled deep inside him. Sitting there with the bell's gentle tolling filling the space, he began to piece together the meaning of his journey. He thought of the traveler who had given him the map, of the shepherdess who had offered her staff, of the struggles and choices that had shaped his path. Every moment, every challenge had forged him, just as fire tempers iron. A realization stirred in his mind. Perhaps this journey had never been about reaching a single place or finding something tangible. Perhaps the true lesson was in valuing every step he had taken: the bell, the plate, the map. They were not the goal, but markers of a transformation already happening within him. He knew now that he wouldn't disturb the altar. The bell had done its part. Carefully, he slipped the metal plate into his bag and rose to his feet. The soft, steady ringing continued, almost as if affirming the lesson he had just learned. As he turned to leave, Thane cast one last glance at the bell. Its sound seemed to follow him, not as an echo in the cave, but as something that now lived within him. Stepping outside, he inhaled the crisp evening air. The valley stretched before him, bathed in the last golden light of the setting sun. He knew he needed rest before deciding his next move, but somehow his path felt clearer than ever. Had I been searching for something I already carried all along, he wondered, looking at the map one final time before folding it away. Dawn arrived in silence, the first golden rays of sunlight spilling over the valley where Thane had rested. He sat still, gazing at the mountains ahead, their peaks still cloaked in shadow. In his hands, he held the metal plate he had found in the cave. The words engraved on it echoed in his mind. Purpose is not found at the destination, but in the steps taken along the way. For so long he had believed that fulfillment lay somewhere far beyond his reach, that he had to search for something distant to fill the emptiness inside him. But now, with each step he had taken and each lesson he had learned, a new understanding had taken root. This journey had never been about finding something external. It was about the way he saw himself and the impact he could leave on the world around him. He unfolded the map one last time, not because he expected it to reveal anything new, but as a reminder. This worn piece of parchment had been the beginning, but the paths drawn on it only held meaning because he had chosen to walk them. The map's true value had never been in the lines it displayed, but in the courage it took to follow them. Thane returned to the village, but he was not the same man who had left. His forge, once just a place of labor, now felt like something more. A space not only for shaping metal, but for reshaping his very purpose. As he stoked the fire for the first time since his return, the steady rhythm of his hammer against the anvil rang through the village like a call to something new. Villagers gathered, curious. They asked what he had found on his journey, but Thane realized their questions weren't really about the places he had seen or the objects he had brought back. What they truly wanted to know was what he had learned. His eyes drifted to the old map, carefully tucked away, then to the metal plaque, now hanging in a place of honor on the forge wall. The answer became clear. Purpose was never a destination or something to be possessed. It was the process of discovering who we are and what we choose to leave behind. With a quiet smile, he responded, "I've learned that purpose isn't some distant thing we chase. It's found in the present, in the work we do, the choices we make, and how we turn challenges into something greater. In the end, it's not about what we find, but how we choose to live what we've learned." And so Thane's story became an inspiration to the village, not because he had uncovered some great secret, but because his journey had proven that the most valuable lessons come in the smallest moments, in the courage to begin, the humility to accept help, the determination to keep going, and the wisdom to grow along the way. From that day forward, the sound of the forge echoed once more, but now with new meaning. The bell in the cave still swayed in the wind, miles away. Thane could not hear it, yet he felt it, an ever-present reminder that life is not about where we arrive, but what we leave behind in every step we take. And in the end, Thane realized that purpose had never been far away. It had been within him all along. Just like Thane, we all face moments of doubt, times when we question our purpose. We often think it's something far away, waiting to be discovered. But in truth, purpose reveals itself in the present, through the effort we put into what we do, the choices we make, and the impact we leave on those around us. The real lesson isn't just about reaching a goal, but about who we become along the way. Even in challenges, there are opportunities to grow. Every decision, every step taken with intention, has the power to shape not only our own journey, but also the lives of those we touch. So remember, what truly matters is not just where we're headed, but each step we take along the way. And in the end, you'll realize that purpose was never something to find. It was something you were building all along, with every choice, every challenge, and every moment lived with meaning. Now it's your turn. Think about your journey. What challenges have you faced? What choices have shaped your path? Are you leaving a meaningful mark on the lives you touch? Share your story in the comments. Tell us how you've been building your purpose and what you've learned along the way. If this story resonated with you, give this video a like, share it with someone who might find inspiration in it, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories. Together we can create a world where every step in the journey has meaning, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us.